Hey everyone, what is going on? It is Wednesday, March 17th, 2021, and we do that to make sure we figure out where in the world we are when we do these things. But for those of you who are celebrating, I had to switch out into my green. It's St. Patty's Day. And Karen, one of my community leaders that I'm so excited to have a conversation with. And so, just all you know, the reason why I started Boss and Friends, and I'm Lawrence Henderson, and I give amazing virtual hugs. I started this community because I don't know about you, but in 2020, I was introduced to some amazing people who added so much to my life when I was ebbs and flows. And Karen was one of those amazing people who reached out. I don't know if it was a post or it was something. It was like, you know, sister from another mister was like, yo, I love what you're doing. I connect for real. I build relationship for real. Let's do something together. And it's been all uphill from there. Just content creating, building community, and all those other good things. And so I wanted to create this space for the people that I lean on, that I trust as advisors, as just community leaders, and the practitioners in of their own. So y'all, here is Karen Huller. What's going on, Karen?
What's going on, Lawrence?
Oh man, nothing much. And I just want to know, Coach K, what is going on in your neck of the woods these days?
I mean, so many great things. I'm always blessed to spend time with you, Lawrence. So I appreciate this time with you. Anytime I get to spend with you, we always have amazing conversations, and they're transformative. And that's what I'm up to. I'm up to transformation. I'm up to making sure that the problems that ail us today are not the problems that ail us tomorrow, and that us as leaders are fully prepared to consciously deal with the problems of tomorrow, so that our planet is better for our kids and our kids' kids. That's what I'm up to, and that looks like doing a lot of different things. It looks like connecting with people like you, going to events, meeting other people who are up to change, getting them all together in a community, and co-creating that change. Yeah.
You know what? And you know us. You never know what we're gonna find ourselves doing from week to week, whether it's launching a clubhouse room and just figuring it out as we go along. And I like to tell people I've evolved as a coach, and I know you have evolved as a coach. But when you think about just recently, and I would say I'm calling 2020 recently, because I've saw somebody's post the other day. They were redoing their birthday from 2020. They were like, I'm gonna get this party.
Catch up time.
It's catch up. Like, I know I'm a year older, but I'm gonna get this birthday I missed. But it's what things are you doing? Because I get asked this question: what are you doing to stay healthy, physically, mentally, and emotionally?
I got into some really good habits in 2018. I was actually certified in hypnosis, and I started to hypnotize myself, and I learned all about habits and habit stacking, really all because I'm always interested in learning new modalities that are going to get my clients to the goal, right? So these were modalities that are accelerated. I've learned so much about the unconscious mind and the role that it has. That's where our change happens. It's where our behaviors happen. It's where our emotions live. So I don't know if you can hear my cat. She's so upset she's not sitting in my lap right now. She's over there crying. But I learned how to I habit stacked. So I started just making my bed, and that led to other habits. It led to I drink this drink in the morning that helps with inflammation. It tastes awful, and it has apple cider vinegar in it, and turmeric, and cayenne pepper. And it helps. I haven't gotten sick when I do it. And it kept me healthy through 2020. I had severe pneumonia, 2018 and 2019. Like, I thought I was going to die. And 2018, it lasted months, and it took me months to recover physically. It took me even longer to recover financially. It took me even longer to recover mentally and emotionally. So it was really critical in 2020 for me to maintain that habit and keep myself healthy. And I just feel like when I have that, it just evens out my body in the morning. I do alternate day fasting. I have a hot tub And that replaced my chiropractic appointments and massage appointments and, all the things. I love to go get pedicures and manicures. I started to sell Color Street just because I wanted that pretty nail, lift in my day. And I just try to get enough sleep. Listen to my body. If my body is tired, it needs some rest. If it's telling me, like you might don't push through this, I listen to it, and it's been working so far.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I'm always good for some, I'm really in the words. Anybody knows anything about me. I keep dictionary.com on deck for new words and language, but habit stacking was something I haven't heard used in sentence form. And just that makes so much sense to me. And for giggles, don't blame it on my head. Tell people where my head goes. When you said hypnosis, the first thing that came up for me was Tony Robbins scene in Shallow Hal. You talk about you do it to yourself. I'm like, Lord, I'm like, Karen gonna be wandering around and making so. But when you think about, because what I heard you describe there is just, again, getting better at setting intentions that lead to positive outcomes and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And how has that turned into, or what has that done for you as a person, not just a conscious leader coach?
We talk about this all the time, Lawrence, but it all starts with self-awareness, right? Yeah. How can you set an intention if you don't even know, what it is you have to change or what outcome you want in the end, So journaling, I don't do it as often as I probably should, but just the reflection time, that hot tub time, it's multi-purpose. It's not just, like for my body, it's definitely for my mind, and it's outside. So it's in nature. I go to nature anytime I need inspiration or just to kind of settle down my nervous system. And it's that knowing where I want to go. So I have been a mission-driven person since I started my company, Epic Careering, in 2006. I knew what I wanted to do was to align people into careers where they could bring their whole selves to work and align with their values and give their talent and contributions to something that meant something to them. And that mission and passion is a framework that drives everything that I do. I set some other goals, like I wanted to create 1 million jobs. That got me into coaching young entrepreneurs, where they can create companies and hire people. And I may be too enthusiastic about too many goals, right? But 2020 was amazing for ideas in general. And their ideas are nothing until you put them into action. And you put them into action, it's almost like a compulsion. Like when you have your intention, you're compelled into action. It's a pull instead of a push.
I love that pull versus the push, because again, anybody who knows anything about me, I'm a actions over ideas always win. Like that is where my head is always at as it pertains to just getting in the game and just really doing what makes sense for you. Early in the week, had a conversation with Coach T on, and just talking about getting in alignment with your purpose, things that make sense for you. When did that really turn into a reality for you?
Well, so it was gradual, right? I mean, I feel like I was looking for something, my vocation, my future, my whole life. And all the advice I was getting I was just like, nah, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. I kind of went a different way than all my friends. And I did find, the right path in terms of the college that I chose. The career that I chose in college was broadcasting, which was great. It gave me a background that I obviously use today doing things like this, which everyone does now, right? Mm-hmm. But what I found is when I was escaping, and that's kind of what it was, escaping to radio, I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have a purpose in radio. It was just fun. It was entertainment. I got some great perks. It didn't pay really well. And I fell into my passion, and I realized that everything in my life was setting me up for this contribution that I wanted to make to people. That, when my mom came home from work tired and she didn't want to play cards because she looked at numbers all day and she was exhausted, when she didn't have the energy to do something with me, her job seemed awful. you know, like
Yeah.
she had some friends there. They had fun. You know, she got the perfect attendance award, which I'm like, wasn't a great thing that she got a perfect attendance award, you know. My dad was forced into early retirement from a big company in my freshman year in high school. We had to sell our house. You know, that also looked awful, you know, like, wow, you worked for this company all your life. He's still living and on a pension, you know, but they took away some things after so many years too, because he lived too long. I mean, the corporate life looked awful to me. And so radio was something that was anti-corporate. But it's ironic because when I wasn't making money to pay my bills in radio, I had to temp, and I fell into a recruiting office in a non-casino resort in Atlantic City. And I spent 3 months there, and I was like, there's actually good jobs, number one, because I temped in many different places. I got to sample a whole bunch of different cultures and teams and bosses.
I love that.
And when I fell into recruiting, I was like, I have power in this role. I can actually take people who need a job and want to get paid and do something they love, and I can offer them a job. So I got into recruiting. I learned sales first. I did a door-to-door sales job to thicken up my skin a little bit and get some sales training. And, you know, that's a door-to-door sales job. So did I keep it? No, I didn't keep it. I just got that experience that was a stepping stone to recruiting. And I did love recruiting. But after some time, especially just because there were cultural changes in my firm and leadership changes in my firm, you know, different reporting structures, it was kind of like I wasn't feeling my groove anymore in recruiting. And I wanted to spend time with these candidates I had recruited through the dot-com bust. You know, after 9/11, I got laid off for myself, was out of a job for 10 months. And I understood the emotional roller coaster that is being in transition and all of the emotions that go along with that, the emotional journey, as well as the, you know, pragmatic steps. I made some mistakes in that transition. I learned what I did wrong, and I, you know, did better in future transitions from 10 months to 5 weeks, you know. I found a place that I really loved. I loved the leadership. I love the company. I love the culture. But then when things started changing, I was realizing that what I really wanted to spend my time doing was talking to these candidates who, unfortunately, I couldn't present for some reason, you know, for whatever reason. It was either their rate was too high than our clients were offering, which really sucks when they're not offering market rates, you know, when they were out of work for 6 months, you know, and I can say, sorry, they want some fresh experience. A lot of the you know, best practices that we used back then are now completely looked at differently. Like that's wrong. You shouldn't be discriminating against people who have gaps in their employment. And I'm so thankful that we made that turn in recruiting. But it really felt awful to have to say to somebody after my own 10-month transition, I'm sorry, I can't present you. You haven't had experience for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that it started to feel out of alignment. And thankfully, the firm that I worked for recognized that there was a morale-wide, you know, company-wide morale issue. They hired a coach to come in. That coach was really what set me straight. A coach, go figure, right?
Go figure.
She was like,
I love it.
Yeah, she was like, you know, you have the qualifications to help people, to spend your day doing this. This is a career. You could be spending your days helping people get the yes. And I was like, all right, 6-month plan. 6 months later, I started my company. That was 2006.
Wow.
And it's just grown from there. It's just the need. I see the need. I want to fill it. You know, I want to learn what I need to learn to fill it. And this conscious leadership initiative that started in 2017, I went to an event in San Diego. There was a speaker who was talking about how the pace of technology, if it outpaces consciousness, that's our demise. You know? So I was just like, yeah, you know, I talk to leaders all day long who are disenchanted. They're seeing leaders above them and leaders below them make unconscious decisions that are impacting everyone. You know, and I could coach them through those situations, and I could help them transition into another company. But there's not enough conscious companies for all of my clients to go to. You know, there's not enough consciousness out there. So that's when this became my new purpose and mission. Wow.
And what I loved about that is, again, coaching. So I want people to help. All right, if y'all got some people, you know, I'm not always the sharpest tool in toolbox and all those other good things. If y'all haven't noticed a trend with people in my community, there's a bunch of coaches. I like surrounding myself with people that can help me raise my lid, and folks that I can actually co-create space and discovery and experiment, who upskill, but they're practitioners.
Yeah.
They drink their own Kool-Aid. And that's the reason why, like, when I first met Karen and she began, the level of excitement just in talking about conscious leadership, I was like, if I don't stay in contact with her just for the sake of having that conversation, I am helping my life be lesser.
I'm glad you got the positive energy, because it can feel heavy sometimes, right? I mean, it feels like the weight of the world sometimes. Like, this is big stuff we're up against, you know?
I'm telling you.
You got to be together.
So, and I love what you said there, particularly around the industry having to change. Imagine that mentality of a recruiting, staffing mentality that says, I'm going to look at your resume, and this is 2021. I'm going to look at your resume and say, because you have an employment gap from 2020, we can't consider you. Think about that. And again, you have some people that are out there that are having to fight that in their head, that conditioning to say, because that person fell on hard times, or they were in an organization that just needed to restructure, that somehow, some way, like, man, that's a double shot in the arm.
2 million women left the workforce because they had to choose their family over work. And we should hold that against them? No.
Well, and the other thing you brought up there too is the gall of organizations to try and lowball.
Yeah.
Because of that reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you talk about leeches. Talk about something like an organization that I will run from, and I will put on my list of organizations to never support.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you, what makes you say yes each and every day to choosing you full time? That's really where I was going. I was going.
Okay. Well, I'd have to say that it's my clients. It's my clients all day long. It's their success stories. It's when I talk to them years later, and I know that they're better off for having worked with me. You know, that they found their niche. They landed that company. They were picky. They knew they could afford to be picky because they knew that they had a system that worked, and they knew that they had a coach that would be behind them to get them through that emotional journey, that all the challenges that you might, because it's not, I'm not going to make it sound like looking for something new or even finding a new path in your own company is an easy venture. It takes a lot of courage. So to have a coach in your corner being like, hey, here's what you can expect, right? And here's what other things that might happen, and here's how you can deal with it. And you've got this,
Yeah. Man, you got this. You got this. Man, we need to make that t-shirt. Like, you like
a t-shirt out there with that yet?
I don't. It's probably not in our colors.
Right. Okay.
Hashtag we got this. Like, go ahead and hashtag it, y'all. Whenever you are you watching this, like, I think that summed up 2020. Like, that sums up everything that's happening in 2021. Like, as a community, like, oh, if you're looking at somebody, just to like whisper, yell it at them, you got this. We got this. And I think that's really I think that was the turning point for me when I finally said yes to me full time. It was just like, no, you got this. And you got something that can overlap, and you could find your spot in the world. And I think as we talk about just community and what does it really mean to do community well, what are things that you look for in those that you support, or those that you're beginning to allow into your space?
I definitely am not looking for perfection, because it doesn't exist, but I am looking for somebody who's willing to look at where they need to grow more. And because I want to be able to feel safe admitting where I need to grow. We talk about that all the time too, right? Psychological safety. But that's really what I'm looking for. People I feel safe being myself with, being my flawed self with, and people that are willing to be their flawed self with me. That's really simply what I look for.
Man, you talk about being out on the ledge. I think if 2020, and again, I'm always thinking about the reframe, right, of things that can help us grow and things that can help us process situations differently. Um, and that was it right there, right? And was with a group of leaders yesterday, and one of the things that came up was, as a group, a norm of, we're going to choose progress over perfection,
Mm-hmm.
and really because that idea or even that unconscious kind of thing that a lot of us as professionals in that corporate environment or wherever we came from, it was kind of that implied
Yeah.
measurement.
Yeah.
And we were like, but nobody could really like give it words or frame perfection, but it was an expectation and you felt it with the way you got feedback, with the way that you were engaged with. And I think for you to just throw that out there like that, one, it normalizes, it's not really a thing. It's not really a thing. So stop it. Stop doing that to yourself. Like
Yeah.
get you a coach. Get you
Yeah.
a conscious coach who hypnotizes themselves to create awareness. So that's a plug. You need to call Karen. So we can get you in the right direction. And Karen, why this work? Why now?
So as I mentioned, the 2017 awakening to just how dire the direction we're going in is. There's really no better examples than everything that bubbled up in 2020. The companies that weren't able to give their employees grace. The mental illness crisis we have that was exacerbated by 2020. Racial justice, social justice, our environment. Just how many environmental factors are being impacted and how we're realizing some of these things with our severe weather today. Like this is killing people. Climate change is killing people. And my girls, they're 10, almost 11 next week and 9, and they're going to inherit these problems. So I can't look at them in the eye and say, I didn't do everything I could have.
I appreciate that sentiment. Definitely because, we both are higher education educators. Shout out Morehouse College. And as I sit with those students and as I have one-on-one conversations with these scholars, and just, man, it makes it worth it to dig into doing this work progressively.
Yeah.
Right. And opening up that opportunity to say, hey, my only job here is to hopefully provide you a solid foundation, and then you build from there.
Yeah.
Right. And allow that autonomy in that space to mess up.
Yeah.
Right. I really believe that's what's missing. And was in a youth organization I was thinking about, and they were, really highlighting things that are missing on playgrounds and different things like that. Like we turned into this extremely safety conscious society where we started taking and it was a picture of like the monkey bars that were like 12 feet off the ground that we climbed on, and the steel things, and now they're all Rubbermaid and all the kind of stuff. Like, I got scarred like that caused me to get stronger in my upper body. Like I needed to hang on longer, or I needed to navigate this obstacle differently. And just the things we've taken that groomed us and grew us, but we're trying to make things safer, or we're in these extremes as it pertains to building out perseverance, and it's actually setting us back. And you mentioned the mental health crisis.
Yeah.
It's one thing that, again, not to shame people, but to lean into it and see how we can provide support.
Right.
And if there was one thing that you desire for people who want to connect with you, if there was one thing you could tell them before they reach out, what's one thing you want them to consider before desiring to connect with Karen?
What's your legacy?
I love it. I love it.
What do you want to leave behind? How do you want to make the world a better place for having lived?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So y'all, here's the deal. You're gonna see more of my cool friends over the next couple weeks. I got some more coaches, some more people who tell you their why and tell you the legacy and what they want to leave behind. But I just wanted to share Karen with y'all. So Karen, how can they find you? How can they connect with you? And y'all better be ready to be answer the legacy question. But how can they connect with you across social media?
I got my LinkedIn right there. But I'm on everything. So feel free to direct message me. Let me know you saw me here. Let me know you're a friend of Lawrence's. Any friend of Lawrence's is a friend of mine. So I'm always, again, very blessed to spend time here with Lawrence. So thanks, Lawrence.
No, my absolute pleasure. And so y'all, this is a space for us to come learn from other leaders. I don't like hoarding people. Just to say I know somebody, I want you to know them too, because I feel like my life is better because of these leaders that I know. And I feel extremely fortunate that Karen reached out to me when she did, and just all the people I've met as a result of knowing Karen. And so as a community, we do have the C3 community, the corporate conscious co-op C3 on LinkedIn. So avail yourself to that community, the leaders inside that community, the resources, our monthly
introduce yourself. Make sure you introduce yourself. Let us know what you talk about. We want to give you a stage. Let's
there you go.
Show everybody what you know that's going to be helpful to the world.
This is a community is a contact sport. So come in, be ready to share, be ready to engage. And so y'all, until next time, this has been another amazing introduction to Boss and Friends. And I just appreciate y'all for showing up, spending a little time with us today. So until next time, be safe, continue to wear a mask, even if you get shot. And we'll go from there. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.